You can see her on top there. She's just sniffing right on the top. So this is where I think this is the den. I'm pretty sure she's coming to it. There, she's calling, listen. I'm sure the cubs are here. This is so cool. I'm just watching for any movement in the grass. This is amazing. I'm almost 99.9% sure the cubs are here. Now that I heard her call.
I can see one.
You can see one. BK can see a cub.
Yes.
Look, there's a little one. Yes! That's so cool. Now I only see one, which is not cool. Let's hope there's another one somewhere here that's just not listening to her at this stage. But definitely one. Now we know the last time that they were seen there was also only one. But they did say that the terrain was very difficult and that it was thick and it was not great. But let's just see now what happens. Sometimes there can be one cub that's more nervous than the other one and doesn't listen as much. And it might just be a little bit more shy. So we're just going to have to... I think she's laid down there, BK.
Yeah, she is.
Okay, right. I'm just going to reposition slightly. We're not going to go closer to her. We don't need to. Ultimately, Thandi, when she's with her cubs, she can sometimes be a little bit defensive of them. And so what I'm going to do is we're just going to view them from across the way here, because we're going to get a beautiful view. BK, how's that from there? I don't think the stump should be in your way. Well, it might be, but we should have a really nice view from there. Look at that. Hello, Thandi. Oh, you are such a good girl. But I think she might have lost one cub, to be honest with you. I think she's only got the one. I don't see any sign of a second one, which is bittersweet, to be honest with you. As much as it's nice to see the cubs, I was hoping that there would be both little heads would pop out, but it just looks like the one head that is out. And, I mean, it's difficult to say from here whether or not it's the boy or the girl, but just judging by that head size, I mean, I would imagine maybe it's the little male, which would go pretty much hand in hand with her track record over the years. Pretty much all her litters, she started with 2 and only ends up with 1, and she raises that one to adulthood, which is pretty crazy. And you say it is bittersweet, incredibly so. Like I say, let's just give it a little bit of time. But generally, when one starts suckling like this, the other one should be there already. So I suspect that unfortunately there's only one cub left, which is incredibly sad. But happy at the same time that we still have a cub. You know, if one gets taken, it can very possible be that the other one was in danger too. And so, you know, this is the reality of what goes on out here. Just as much as we yesterday watched lions kill a warthog and saw a life end in that regard, so this is a very stark reminder that the predators don't have it all their own way, and that life for them is equally as tough as the prey animals. So, you know, she's eating an impala at the moment, but she is also going to lose her own offspring at times to various different predators. And it could be a python, it could be hyenas, it could be lions, it could be another leopard. You know, there's so many different things that could take a little leopard cub, bird of prey. So, you know, it's a harsh world out there, and cub survival rates are low. So as much as it's always so nice to see leopard cubs, you've got to always remember that the mortality rate of leopards in a system like this that's got such a high predator density is one that there is going to be a lot of deaths, unfortunately. And, you know, they reckon that only about 30% of the leopard cubs within the Sabi Sands actually make it to a year old. So it gives you an idea of how difficult it is. And like I say, Thandi's track record, if you go back to her first litter, 2 cubs, only 1 survived. Second litter, 2 cubs, only 1 survived. Third litter, 2 cubs, only 1 survived. Fourth litter, 2 cubs, only 1 survived. Fifth litter was just 1 cub, as far as we know. We only ever saw 1. 6th litter, 2, both didn't survive. 7th litter was 2, and now just the 1 that we see. So it's a pretty kind of consistent pattern from her. Oh, is it the little boy or is it the little girl? I don't know. With that tail up, maybe somebody can get a screenshot as to see which one it is. Look at that. That is just the fattest, sweetest little thing. Oh, there is nothing better than leopard cubs. So Victoria, as I've just said, this is her 7th litter that we know of. It's possible that she might have given birth before and lost them before we even knew about it. Look at that little fat tummy. You are so fat and round. Looks like maybe the little female, actually, that's there. But she's had 7 litters, and these cubs, now I have seen every single one of her litters, which is pretty crazy. It's been very special to follow this cat. I saw all of her mom's litters and now all of her litters too. So just continuing the generations, which is crazy to think that, you know, watching her mom and watching the 5 litters she had versus the 7 litters. Oh, that is just so precious. Hello, little one. You are full of beans already. Are you going to be like your sister? But I promise you can ask BK. I knew it from the moment we left that carcass that we were going to cubs. Just the way that she looked and the way that she started walking, it was just something that I've seen before in leopards. And as soon as she went past Tumbeta's waterhole, then I was pretty sure that we were going to go to cubs. What a way to spend a morning. I mean, like I say, it's bittersweet that we've lost a cub, but at the same time, just to find her on a kill, follow her to a cub in the middle of Djuma, where we had no idea that this cub was even here. I mean, I've driven past the spot. BK will attest to this. How many times have I driven past here, BK? A lot. And every time I point to BK, I'm like, this is the place where Thandi is hidden her cubs. We must always just check for her here. Anyway, so what I was saying is that basically her movement is on roads. But when we used to see Salahesh in the west, so around Simambili, when she had her cubs, when she had Tiani and various other litters, she was incredibly good at not walking on roads. So what she would do is anytime she was going to the cubs with no scent marking, and she would literally go across a road. So she would basically walk straight across and into grass, not on game paths. And she must have figured out that hyenas followed her less if she did that way. Whereas obviously with Thandi, she feels like she's confident enough to walk on the roads and that it's okay, especially from a kill. But this is just so magic. Look at this, mom and baby playing. Look at his little cub. Look at that. That is as good a visual as you could ever want. Wow.